the best is yet to come. Green is the color, football is the game. We're all together and
Well, my dad was a huge sports fan, so we cheered for Toronto Maple Leafs in the winter and the Saskatchewan Rough Riders in the summer.
Before I can remember, my parents obviously raised me as a Rider fan. From the longest time that I can remember as a child, I can remember going to games, cheering for the Riders, wearing Rider jerseys, and it's the same with most families in Saskatchewan. The children, right from when they're babies, as they're brought up, it's just, they're taught to cheer for the Riders, and that gets ingrained into you. And so, ever since I was a kid, I've cheered for them, and I still do. I think a true Rider fan is somebody who will cheer for their team no matter the circumstances. So whether they're at home or they're away in a different city, if the team is doing very well or if the team is not doing very well, they still cheer for the team no matter what, through thick and thin.
When you live in Saskatchewan, it becomes you being a Rough Rider fan. Like, I've moved to Calgary and there is no way I can cheer for Calgary Stampeders. There's just no way.
What makes us stand out is we're everywhere. No matter where we live, we're always Rider fans, and we will all die that way. It's like I said, it's in our blood, and we're everywhere. Everywhere you go, you're going to see a Rider fan. Even different places in the world, you'll find Rider fans wearing their green because they're proud to wear their green.
The Riders are Saskatchewan's only professional team. You're taught from the moment you're born basically to cheer for the Riders, and that bond is strong enough that when you leave the province and you go elsewhere, you still cheer for the Riders.
There's different groups in Calgary. It's Saskatchewan Club of Calgary. There's different Rider Pride groups here in Calgary. There's RiderPrideYYC and many other groups, but a lot of them are just groups of Rough Rider fans that have got together or ran into each other over the years at football games or at pubs before and after the game and decided that they would like to organize another event.
I do very much. I remember the telethon, Save Our Riders, all the different things that they tried to raise money. It was an interesting time because at that point there was no salary cap, and the reality is that out of the teams that we had, there were 3 community-owned teams, the rest were privately owned with wealthy owners who could spend the money to attract players. Edmonton is a publicly owned team, but their stadium seats 3 times as many people as the Riders, so they obviously have a much bigger budget. And so what ended up happening was that the good players, a lot of the good players, would go to these other centers. The Riders had a number of years where they were simply not competitive. In fact, I remember in my first years of my life, they made the playoffs my first 16 years. From the time I was born through 16. And then once I turned 17, they didn't make the playoffs for 20 some odd years.
A sad time. I remember they started having lotteries, and I thought, if we don't have the Saskatchewan Rough Riders to cheer for, we don't have anything. Like, that was our community.
If you've ever been to a Stamps Rider game here, you'll know that usually the crowd's about 50-50. I have a lot of friends here that were born and raised in Calgary and weren't football fans until I convinced them to go to a couple Rough Rider games. And after going to a couple Rider games, they decided they would rather be Rough Rider fans than Stamps fans, even though they were born here. You run into some Stamps fans who obviously don't like it, but at the same time I've heard a lot of Stamps fans say that they envy the Riders' passion.
I have, of course, the huge flags. I have garden gnomes that are about this big. I've got boxes of Fantouz flakes, although now Fantouz is no longer there. They're maybe not as valuable. And all sorts of other things. If you go onto the Rider website, their merchandising, online merchandising site, and the Rider stores that are actually in Saskatchewan are second to none. And I know that in terms of overall volumes of sales, the Rider merchandise in the CFL, the volume that they sell, is more than the other 7 teams combined. Multiple jerseys, track suits and hats and helmets and sunglasses. I have a Rider tie that I wear at work here. All sorts of different things that.
I stole, in the background, I stole my son's rider picture from when they won the Grey Cup that year.
Picking out a watermelon, find something shaped kind of like shape your head or similar. What you do is you want to find part of the watermelon, as you can see here, that looks like most likely the shape would be the front of the face of a human's face. So we'll have that right there. That's the widest part, so what we'll do is we'll cut off the bottom here and we'll clean it out, and then we'll start carving in and out and have the eyes here and the nose piece come down and open up the mouth there. Continue on to the next stage. So what we want to do, same thing, clean it out right to the white ring there. So it's just basically the shell, and then we'll start carving the face on.
We're riding high now, heading for the top. We've got a winner, yeah, we're giving all we got. We got that rider pride, a feeling deep inside. It's rider pride, rider pride. We've got that rider pride.
It's in my blood.
It's in your blood.
It's in my blood to be a Rider fan, I guess.
We're all together, and winning is our aim.